Welcome to another episode of Crash Course Autographs. I, of course, am Matt, a.k.a. Stormageddon. And before we get to this week's guest, I, of course, want to thank my patrons who support me at the $5 level and get a shout-out at the beginning of every episode. So thank you, MJ, Case, Rob, and Robert. If you'd like to get a shout-out at the start of the show, you can go to patreon.com/Stormageddon. Any level is great and an awesome way to help support me. If you don't want a shout-out and you just want to jump in at the $1 or $3 level, you still get some other rewards like exclusive audio content and a bunch of other things. So go ahead and check that out. On to this week's guest, which is Rex Halligan. He is a delightful human who I love with my whole heart. He is a stage kitten, burlesque performer, entertainer, bunny overlord, and more. We chat about his nerdiness, his love of old school rock music, how he got into the burlesque scene, and a ton of other great stuff. So without any further ado, please enjoy this episode of me and the incredible Rex Halligan.
With Victor, he's just like, I'm just gonna put the mic towards you and yell.
Yeah, I mean,
sorry,
that's usually how
very quiet.
That's usually how it goes for me too. I usually project the guest who I recorded yesterday, but is actually going to come out after you. She's also a podcaster, and so like I put it closer to her at first, and I was like, oh, I don't have to do that with you.
Yeah.
You know how to project. So thank you for agreeing to do the show, Rex. I'm really happy to have you on.
Thanks for having me.
I've known you for a while now. We met through the burlesque scene, being big nerds who had a lot in common, often talking about music. And over the years, you've become a performer yourself. One of the things I wanted to ask you, actually, is how that transition went. Because, I mean, you were a fan of burlesque for a while. You also are a very attractive man. And so the shift to burlesque seems pretty natural, but
No, I'll fight you on that.
Oh, really? Was it not?
It's still not. It's still it's the most unnatural thing I've ever done, which is why I do it.
Is it just that you want to challenge yourself with it?
Absolutely. That's exactly. It's the hardest fucking thing. Oh, can I?
Yes, okay, you can curse. You're fine. You're good. You're good.
It's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Like, it's terrifying.
But I guess that's the fun of it, right? If you like taking risks.
I don't like taking risks, but it's just I feel like it's good for me.
Okay, well
that
makes sense.
It's the what is it? You regret all the things you didn't do, not the things that you did.
Mm.
You know, so I was like, okay, this is awful. Let me try this.
And so you started out as a stage panther, stage kitten, whatever the term we're choosing to use.
I use kitten.
Oh, you prefer kitten?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You did mention that on Victor's show. Shout out to Victor Devon.
Hey, what's up, man? Militant kitten.
Hey, I'll stick to it then. But so you started doing that first, but I know you did an act pretty early on based on your day job.
Which I don't do anymore. I need to rework it. Maybe we'll bring it back. So the plan was for me to do an act.
Right.
You know, basically it spun off of Halloween.
Right.
Like, you know, like Halloween costumes and everything. It's like, well, you should do this.
Right.
And it's like, but I would need to dance. And then the funniest thing is everyone's like, no, you don't need to dance.
Dancing is not required.
So many people don't dance. And then it's like, look at them. And it's like, they're fucking dancing.
Yeah.
Like,
what do you call that? That's movement on stage. That looks like a damn dance to me.
Yeah. So arguments aside. So it's like, all right, cool. Let us know when you're ready. And I started working with some good people. Mm-hmm. And then it came up of like, all right, we have an idea for a show, you know, and like we want female hosts and male kittens, and we'll flip it, you know, like, which it's been done, but it's not done often, and it's not done outside. I almost use like outside of the male gaze, but let's like everything's in the male gaze, like even
that
like,
is also
like
true.
Gay shows, burlesque shows, everything is, you know, Hollywood literally culture is built on the male gaze.
Yeah.
Even Magic Mike is built.
Oh, for sure.
It's still the male gaze, just it's a female point of view on a male gaze. Like,
right,
it's still
exactly.
all the, so anyway, yeah. So it was we'll do female MCs, male kitten, and work you in there and kind of like turn the objectification around. And it's, I was like, all right, cool, this sounds fun. It's also, I don't have to dance.
Right, exactly.
So it's like, all right, one strike down. And so I did that. I did that for like 2 months, and then it was, I started, you know, I did my one performance, and it wasn't great. Some people got it, some people didn't get it. It was cheesecake for if you wanted to be cheesecake, so it was like, cool, I have a safety net.
Right, sure.
Like, leave the psychological trauma. Just look at the fireman shit.
Right, sure, yeah.
So, but I'm not in love with it because it's it was your first thing is usually terrible, right?
Well, right. Nobody's good at something the minute. Well, that's not true. There are tons of people who are good instantly, but the artists who really, but the artists who have to work at it, like they do have to do it multiple times. But what I've noticed a lot, and a lot of people are very complimentary about when you are a kitten, how on it you are, how responsive you are, how serious you take the responsibility. Like I've talked with Veronica Viper at length about how great you are. She's amazing.
Hey, Veronica.
She's. I don't know if Veronica listens though. I do need to have her on the show at some point. But yeah, she always talked very highly about your kitten work for Wormwood and stuff,
which I completely fell ass backwards into.
Really?
I think I showed up to it was actually I think the first show at Bazaar, and I was just like, oh, I have a free night. I don't know what I'm doing, and I looked and it was a pretty good lineup. I was like, cool, I'll check this out. I haven't been to Bazaar. I haven't been to Wormwood. I don't know who any of these other people are, but it's like I know 3 performers and they're good. So it's worth my time going to Bushwick. And I think I won the raffle. And
that's right, you did. I forgot about that.
And like literally got called out. Like, here's your whole life story. I know you. I was like, okay, this is kind of awkward for me. And then like got a text like, or a DM, and it was just like, want you in the show. And so I think I did that until they closed the show or went on hiatus.
Yeah, they'll be back eventually. Veronica assures me. But yeah, their last show I think was last November, if I remember correctly.
That sounds right. Yeah.
And so since then, I know you've also kittened for a White Elephant. You've worked with Wasabasco in the past. You've worked with a bunch of different companies. Was there ever a plan of how to spread the work that you're doing, or did it just kind of happen by happenstance?
It's everything I do is by happenstance because I'm bad on selling myself and hitting up for gigs. So any gig I've gotten has been people reaching out to me.
Oh, really?
Because I'm terrified and I don't have a big body of work.
I mean, but you get a bigger body of work by doing this stuff.
I know. No, it's like it's the underpants gnome thing. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's that odd penultimate question mark.
Question mark, then profit.
But yeah, I'm with Members Only Burlesque now.
Oh, that's awesome. That's right.
It was just an amazing crew.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how the fuck did I wind up there? But even that was, Milo and Twinkie just reaching out to me like, hey, doing a show at, Laurie Beachman. It's like, oh, okay. And I performed in Asbury Park, which was amazing.
Oh, neat.
As a tri-state area punk kid from the early 2000s, Asbury Park has a special place.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it's weird going down 20 years later and just being like, oh, it's different now. It's all like there's
probably much prettier than it used to be.
Yeah, it's now I finally know how like people that grew up in the Village in the 80s. Like, it's
like you're adorable. You like this area now, but you didn't see it 20 years ago.
Exactly. It's wonderful though now. It's like, I don't mean to throw shade at Asbury Park and how it's changed, because it's for the better, but
for sure,
it's just not how I remember it.
Yeah.
So I got there just literally being in Dromedary at a burlesque show. And
that's right.
And it's just like, you're Rex Halligan. We have a show in on Valentine's Day. We want you. It's like, me? What?
Dromedary is a great venue. I'd never been there, and then I went. Lucy Buttons hired me to DJ for one of their shows, and it's a beautiful space that I never even knew existed. Yeah,
it's I wouldn't be in that area if I wasn't seeking out a burlesque show there.
Same.
So it's not like a venue that you'd walk past that catches your eye, but Yeah, it's a great little bar.
I mean, but also you're a little atypical from a lot of burlesque performers in the city because you're not actually in the city.
Yeah, I'm a bridge and tunnel kid.
Yeah, and so like 90% of the time, I'm guessing you're driving to your gigs, right?
For the most part, yeah. It depends. Certain boroughs are easy to get to. Others are a pain in the ass. Queens is a pain in the ass for everyone.
Well,
if you live in Queens, it's a pain in the ass for you to get other places in Queens.
Right.
I have an ongoing war with the entire borough.
I've heard that if you live in Queens, you love where you live, but everything else sucks. Like, you have to commute.
And that's
you're not
fair.
near anything. You're not near anyone else.
They built it without any plans, apparently.
But when you're picking gigs or getting asked to do gigs, as the case may be, does the distance you have to travel affect it, or are you just happy to be in the show and be a part of it?
There's certain times when I'm just like, no, I'm not going to Staten Island.
That's fair. I mean, as someone who grew up in Staten Island, I rarely want to go to Staten Island.
There's certain places like I love Coney. Coney's a pain to get to.
Well, because it's on the ass end of Brooklyn, and you're coming from the opposite direction.
Even if you're in Brooklyn, it's still far. Like where I live,
not from where we are right now.
And we're not even that far south in Brooklyn. It's just
the Q line is right here and runs directly to Coney.
You have a main line right there. But like it's just it's funny because people are like, well, you don't live in the city, and I'm just like, I'm closer to this venue than you are. Like, yeah, okay, I'm sorry, you live in like East Flatbush, and like I'm going to beat you home. Like, so it's
pretty much.
Just funny because people are like,
well, that's also because we're competing with the MTA, which is usually a gamble.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly. If there's a gig I can drive to, I drive to
I've
it.
I've heard
much.
of the G train. I've never actually seen one. Like,
funny, most of us who actually want to take it barely see it too. So there's that. What I'm curious about as you continue to perform and continue to try and work on growing your catalog, do you have any intention of doing any nerdlesque? Because I know you're a big nerd. Like you talked about how.
What is a nerd now?
That's a good point.
I'm sorry. There's like two things I don't get. I don't mean to come on your show and ask you questions.
No, please do.
Okay, so there's nerd culture and gamer culture.
Right.
How are those things in 2019? Like, who isn't a nerd and who hasn't ever played games? Like,
yeah, I guess the thing is,
a guy won an Oscar for playing the fucking Joker. Like, how is nerd culture still a thing? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, it's pop culture at this point.
Yes, I mean, I guess part of it is
$1 billion Marvel movies are there.
Sure, but there are people who see the Marvel movies who aren't necessarily into the comics or any of the other material.
But that's still a nerd thing. Like you can ask my jock older sister who like never read a comic book in her life the entire Avengers backstory right now, and she'll know it. Yeah.
No, you're right. I guess at the end of the day, though, a lot of those things are still rooted in nerdy things. I mean, then again, I've always argued like sports are just as nerdy. If you play fantasy football, it's
Dungeons and Dragons with
for jocks. It's stats, making fantasy teams, building out pretend scenarios. No, you're absolutely right. But I guess what I wanted to ask is because I know from your past you're into you have a huge variety of music that you love, especially in the rock, heavy metal, punk area, and you're also into a lot of
also early 90s rap.
Early 90s rap, yes. But you also
it was really good. Come on, like, there was a lot of good shit coming out then.
Well, yes. Well, also the thing about early 90s rap is that the artists who were making it were also really good and just starting to grow their brands. Some of those rappers are still around and aren't making the same quality of music. Yeah,
or still are, just on certain, like you can hear a RZA track.
Yeah,
and the first time you hear like a minor chord, minor key piano chord. Like you're like, oh, okay, that's
okay.
It.
I know who this is,
and that all started then. Like it was a good time.
Yes, well, I mean that's why I listen to more indie rap than actual mainstream rap these days, because I know nothing against Drake, like whatever, he's got another set of issues besides his music, but the fact that like I never liked his stuff was just, it wasn't my taste. Like the hip hop I'm fond of just had a different feel.
Yeah. Now it's pretty much Run the Jewels for me.
Yes, Run the Jewels are great. Busta Rhymes put out a track a couple years ago that was pretty good, but there's still no sign of an album from him.
Right. And I think he's doing well enough.
Yeah, that's for sure. But like Tribe Called Quest put out that album a couple years ago that was like my Bible for a few years.
I'm so out of music, and then something gives me hope. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Well, that's why I listen to a lot more independent artists, is because I'm closer to because I've interviewed a lot of independent artists and then listened to their music. There's a connection to it, besides just the music itself. Whereas if there are flaws or if there are things that, like, it's not my favorite thing, I may be more attached because I have a personal connection to it.
Right.
Either making some kind of connection through the podcast or whatever else.
Which is how I am with a lot of burlesque. Like,
yeah,
you know, okay, I wouldn't be at this show, but I have a personal connection to a lot of these people, and now I'm enjoying it because I'm here.
Right.
You know, it got me in the door, and now I'm because I'm an introvert.
There's tons of shows that I've gone to where, like, the theme was like, I don't know that I care, but then because I know the performers, I'll go.
Yeah.
Like, that's how I mean, I'm a fan of Twin Peaks, but, like, how I really got involved with the Pink Room was I was sort of a fan of Twin Peaks, but I knew Francine the Lucid Dream, Schaefer the Dark Lord, Bunny Buxom, all these performers, Minx Arcana, and so it's like, all right, well, it's an awesome lineup. I might as well go see what the show is, and then I loved it.
Yeah, and I've done that with countless burlesque shows where it's like I have no idea what I'm going into, but I know it's going to be good.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think because also burlesque, as someone now who's seen a lot of it and has been
so much of it,
and is a part of the industry, you definitely to trust the performer, even if you don't know what the theme is, or if you're going to know all of the performers. Like, all it takes is a couple of good key performers to be like, all right, well, if they're in this, then the rest of it must be good.
Right. Nasty Canasta could do anything in the world. I'll be like, okay, I'm front row.
Cosign, yes. Yeah, every project I've been involved with her or gone to watch that she's done is because it's her. Like, I love everyone who's been involved in any of those shows that I've DJ'd for Nasty, but the reason I did those shows is because they were Nasty shows. Like, I was always excited to do them because
and the funny
thing
is, like, her and I, like, we're both, you know, I guess we're going to use the term nerd.
Yes.
So we're both huge nerds with absolutely no overlap.
Yes.
Like, there's no Venn diagram for me and Nasty. Like, it's like, oh, you're into that? Okay, I've never heard of that.
But I think it's the understanding of each other's passion that allows you to work well together regardless of there being no overlap.
Right.
Which makes sense. Like, my favorite thing about us is that our overlap pretty much, I think, stops at the end of the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
like, we have some concurrent overlap, but for the most part where we overlap the hardest is the 90s, because we grew up in similar scenes, listening to similar music, playing similar video games, which I think is really fun for me.
It's funny, like, the burlesque scene now, what I like about it is it kind of reminds me of the early 2000s New York.
Yes.
You know, I want to say New York hardcore scene, but that's not correct because it was dead by then.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
What came after that there's no word for?
Right.
Or you could call it, like, post-hardcore, which I fucking hate because post everything.
I mean, what does that even mean?
Exactly. It's like,
it's a placeholder post anything as a genre.
It's like what was left over of, like, okay, CBGB's, you know, is on its last legs, and, like, we lost the Wetlands, and, like, all these great clubs I'm old, so forgive me if you're listening to this. These were places in New York. But, like, you know, just where you followed venues and not so much bands.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's kind of like burlesque. Like, you know, okay, who's at, you know, Bedlam? Who's at Bazaar? Who's at, you know, whatever, Slipper or... God, we're losing venues left and right in New York, so I'm trying to name them.
That one's also a little tough.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're totally right.
Highline occasionally.
When I was growing up, like, living in Staten Island, there were one or two clubs down by the ferry that always had great punk music, and, like, I never knew any of the bands playing. I just would go.
You go on name recognition of the venue, like, I'm going to see something on stage.
Right, and you're right. I never thought about that with burlesque, but a lot of the shows I saw in the early days were either the Parkside Lounge, the Bell House, City Winery, you know, and now it's Bedlam and Bazaar Bushwick, and there are plenty of shows I've gone to because I know the venue. Either because I worked there or I just went there as a fan. And I'm like, well, I'm going to see burlesque. It's going to be burlesque. So either way, I'm going to see boobs and butts. So how bad could it be? And you're
probably going to run into some people you know in the crowd.
Right.
You know, that is a huge part of why I love burlesque. Mm-hmm. Like, it's cheers.
Yes.
It's cheers across the entire city. Like, you know, you walk into a place and it's Norm, you know. Like,
right.
I mean, you can't put a price on that. And that's, again, going back to using the punk simile.
Yeah.
Was, you know, that became a huge thing again in that part of the, you know, late 90s, early 2000s New York music scene.
Yeah.
It wasn't so much tough guy, me against you at that point.
Right.
It wasn't so much gatekeeping, I guess is the right term.
Sure.
You know, so you were just happy to see people like, wait a minute, you're dressed like me. All
Yeah.
right, cool.
Yeah, I recently rewatched Wayne's World for another podcast that I'm going to be on sometime in June, and like the scene where they go to the metal club, and besides the one really tall guy that pushes Garth away that he then electrocutes, that whole scene there is like them going to see a band, hanging out with people they know in the town, and like I have such fond memories of those kinds of experiences.
Because New York is the largest city on the continent, well, largest city in the country, but it's very small.
Yeah,
Very
everybody
small.
knows everybody.
Exactly, if you're in certain areas.
Right, or running in certain circles.
Right.
I mean, that's my favorite thing about White Elephant is that whether you're in the show or you're going to the show, you will know half the room.
Right.
Because it's the same folks who just turn out for those shows to hang out and to chill and to support. And I like that. There's this sense of, DIY that, and there are a ton of burlesque shows that are less DIY and more polished, and that's fine too. But what I like about the more DIY shows is that, like, there's this sense of camaraderie. Like, hey, we pulled it off. We did the thing.
Right, exactly. I guess that's a lot of people would extend that from Rocky Horror. That has a DIY. I'm not a Rocky Horror kid.
That's
but
okay.
But again, it's all that same community building of community isn't the right word.
Yeah, it's more than that.
That's incongruent, like in its application, but it's along those lines,
right?
Of just scene industry. They all mean different things, and they're all right in a certain way, but none of them are perfect.
Yeah, totally. While now that you've been performing more and you've been kittening more, do you have any aspirations for things you want to do that you haven't done yet, or things that you're working on that you haven't debuted yet?
I have ideas for acts, but I don't know. I haven't been actively pursuing them just because life's crazy right now, and burlesque is a distant part of it. Like, God bless the people that do this to support themselves and pay their rent. Yeah. I'm not that, and I will never be that. I'm a fireman.
Right. Well, I mean, and you've been a fireman for a long time.
Yeah, so that's a really long time. I'm getting up there.
Well, look, it doesn't matter how old you look, as long as you feel, right? Or something like that.
Yeah, well, I'm feeling it. No, so yeah, I'm a fireman. That's always my thing first and foremost. And burlesque is a distraction.
It's a fun
distraction, but my burlesque work suffers because of that, because it's like, I don't have time for that right now.
Well, I imagine as a fireman you're working a lot of long hours and inconsistent hours too.
Yeah, long hours in a clip and all over the place. Like, people are like,
because you don't have a set schedule. It changes.
It's set, but it rotates.
Oh, okay.
So it's not like like doctors or whatever. Like, oh well, do you work Tuesdays? It's like, all right, hold on, let me pull out this calendar. And
yeah, I have a friend who's a police officer who I know for a while. He was 4 on, 4 off. Yeah, was his schedule. And so, is it something like that?
Well, yeah, we tend to work longer hours, but less shifts.
Okay,
longer shifts.
Got it.
Yeah. So burlesque is my happy distraction, my therapy from being a fireman, because I love it, but it can. You need to get away.
Yeah, of course.
Because I've seen the guys that like don't get away, and it's like that's not healthy. Yeah. So I did my first show 3 weeks before Donald Trump took office. Okay. Yeah, try being a fireman and being I guess I'm a liberal. I don't know, like by default.
You have a brain.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
exactly.
Yeah,
like,
but I know that you often talk about how you post on your. Because you have a Muggle profile, Facebook profile, and Rex, but you've been using Rex more and more into the Trump regime because you just couldn't handle
I can't.
interacting with people who support him.
Against the wall at this point. Like, so yeah, I mean, thank God for having burlesque of just like get me out of this fucking place.
I'm guessing that you don't see eye to eye per se with a lot of the people you work with.
Firehouses are miniature red states.
Got it. Noted.
It is what it is.
Right, of course. Like, you can't.
And it's overwhelmingly, white male, age
Yeah.
25 to 40. It's that demographic. It's the,
Got
guys
it.
who most haven't had to struggle in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and I don't know. Struggle means different things to different people.
Sure, that's also true.
Like I didn't have an easy time, but I wouldn't say I struggled.
Right.
There are guys I know who have had it much better than me, who are like, you don't know what I've been through. It's like, fuck off.
Yeah. Right. Like, I'm sorry.
Come on, man.
Did you break your toe or something? Like boo-hoo.
Yeah. So I had little patience, and now I have no patience. So
Well, it must be great, though, to have hobbies that you can pour yourself into. I mean, I also know that you are a pet lover and have, within the last year or so, acquired a bunny that you have an affinity for.
yeah, she's
Freya, right, is the bunny?
Yeah, she's the most ridiculous animal to ever live. Like, I just look at her, I'm just like, why? Why are you? Like, how did we get here?
You've gotten pretty good at playing narrator for that rabbit on your Instagram, I have to say.
Yeah,
Which, if you're not following Rex Halligan for A, his gorgeous photos, but B, for his fucking videos of his bunny rabbit, I highly recommend it.
I don't know why anyone follows me. It's the most all over the place, like, stream of consciousness Instagram account of, like, it's like, there's so many people who follow me for, like, burlesque. And
Right.
It's like, oh, cool. It's like, it's a half-naked guy.
Like
and
every
promoting
10
shit.
photos, there's a naked guy, and then it's just bunnies and rabbits and
firefighting
and
shit.
firefighting shit.
And yeah, I don't know why anyone follows me on the internet. Don't. It's bad. Don't.
What inspired you to get a rabbit? Was it just you wanted another pet?
No, it wasn't me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, no, I just came home and
there she was.
And yeah, there was a rabbit.
So you're saying someone else is to blame, someone who
Yes.
might be listening. That's very funny.
But it was one of those things. It's like my dog. I adopted my dog the first time I held her. I was like, all right, well, you're coming home. Like,
I mean, that's how it goes with a good pet. I feel like if you hold them and you feel a connection, like that's it. Like,
Yeah,
you don't need
it's like-
anything else.
yeah, and then there's my cat. He's all right.
I mean, he's a cat. Cats are assholes.
Yeah.
That's just what they are. Some are less of an asshole.
He's gotten really fat though. And it's I like him so much more now
because he's
it's
rounder.
He's just come on, round animals like
Yeah, they
that
are
is
pretty great.
Round
true.
animals on Instagram is a wonderful thing, and now I just have that all the time around my house. It's good.
That's good.
The bunny bullies everyone, which is hilarious because she weighs 1.7 pounds.
I always found that fascinating about pets is like small animals that bully larger animals.
Oh, yeah,
is
yeah.
my favorite thing.
She's ruthless.
She seems like it. We were talking a little bit earlier about gaming and music. Are you still playing a lot of video games? I know that you grew up playing games, but do you still have time to play anything now?
I do, but like I said, I've been I play single player games. And
Right.
I've been playing Civilization for the last like 6 years and not even looking at other things.
That can occupy a lot of time.
It's-
It really is. Especially the newer civilizations where like there are trees and all these different things you can do like to build up all of your units and your cities and the expansions, and like I think the longest running Civ game I ever had was like 6 hours long. Not in one sitting, like over time going back to it with friends, and it just took forever to finish.
Yeah, no,
Finish, finger quotes, because
exactly.
what does that mean with Civilization?
It's like I never played Dungeons and Dragons, but apparently that's how things work, where you put a lot of time into it, and then it's like, all right, let's wrap this up.
Yeah.
like Monopoly.
Yeah,
You
pretty
know,
much.
Or the last season of Game of Thrones, as everyone said.
Yeah, that one I can't comment on. I've not seen it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not a Game of Thrones fan. I never watched. Oh, well, that's not
To
true.
me, it's just one of those things of like, even if you hate it, I feel like you need to watch it just so you know what everyone else is talking about.
I
didn't watch Breaking Bad, and I feel like I've missed out on so many like pop culture references.
I didn't see Breaking Bad either. I think part of it is when it comes to like I'm as a hobbyist, it's like music is the priority, video games is second, and then TV and movies is third. And so like unless it's a series I'm really into, I don't stick it out. And I watched the first episode of Game of Thrones. Watched when a Bran got pushed out the window and went, I just don't care about this show or characters.
It's a slow build.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah,
I'm
not going to say the payoff is worth it.
Well, obviously, if the internet has taught me anything. Though I don't always agree with the internet and their views on certain things. Like there are plenty of bad movies and TV shows that I've enjoyed that the internet hates.
Right,
so.
right. I also, I mean, I also don't think that a bad ending negates a good product.
Correct.
Like there's tons of bad endings in a movie that are great movies. I can't think of one now, of course. But.
Right, of course. But that's or like an album that's really great, even if there's the last track sucks or the couple of tracks in the middle suck. Like it doesn't ruin the album. It just you don't listen to those songs.
Exactly.
So you mentioned Game of Thrones. Are you watching more TV than you are playing video games these days?
No. I honestly I listen to music. I just watch a lot of YouTube.
Do you watch certain specific YouTubers?
I basically, so I canceled cable because I'm giving all this money to like all these,
we're cord
cable,
cutters
Netflix,
too,
all that, and it's just, or even like Netflix. It's like I'd rather watch like passionate people. Like, all right, just teach me history, teach me science, or talk about, like give me album reviews or something. Like, what am I missing? I'd rather have that feels real.
I mean, that's what I primarily watch these days. Like, we have everything because my spouse is an actress, so of course we have everything.
Of course, yeah.
But,
actually, one of my favorite show probably that's in between seasons right now, but she was on.
Marvelous Miss Maisel.
How do you not love that show? That is the perfect television show.
I have to admit, I haven't watched it.
Oh my god!
I know. I'm just a bad nerd.
I think the most I've ever been in love with a fictional character is Ms. Maisel. Like, she is literally the perfect woman.
Interesting. I've wanted to watch it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Of course it takes, I don't know how many people to make that character real of, like, comedy writers and whatever. But, like, that is seriously the best show. Like, awesome. Check that out. Do yourself a favor.
I'll have to do that. I've been wanting to. It's one of those things that's on my list. I just started watching Ash vs. the Evil Dead because all of it's on Netflix, and I love the Evil Dead series.
See, I was never a horror guy, and I understand they're not really horror.
They're not, because I'm not really a horror guy either. The first one is true horror, but the second one's schlocky, and then the third one's a comedy. Yeah, and so that's what I'm tuning in to the TV show for, and the TV show is mostly like gore and comedy. Like, that's all it is, and over the top, almost looks fake kind of gore. Like, someone gets cut with a chainsaw and gets dumped with buckets of blood. Like, not real.
Which I think, I don't know, that's a good rule in art, is either pick an extreme.
Right.
Like either don't do it or just overdo it to the point of parody.
Yeah. But I'm on... going back to what you said about YouTube, I'm the same way. Like, the 90% of the things I watch these days are, like, I watch The Needle Drop, which does album reviews on YouTube. I watch a ton of different video game reviewers, although that list gets shorter every time another douchebag shows his penis to an underage girl.
Again, gamer culture. What is it?
Yeah, I know. That's why I don't play online much anymore with strangers. I only play with my friends because I don't want some 12-year-old white boy yelling the N-word at me and then telling me I'm gay.
Exactly.
Which, I'm bi, so it's fine. He's not wrong, but he doesn't mean it that way.
Right.
He means it to be an asshole. I'm so hesitant to idolize in nerd culture unless it's a woman, specifically a woman who's a person of color, because it feels like everybody else comes out to be a shit stain.
Right.
Like, I keep my fingers crossed that Keanu Reeves still continues to be the greatest human on earth.
Yeah.
Because he's like my last hope.
No, I would be shocked too. Like,
right. Like,
because he's got us all convinced.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Like, he's literally the internet and the acting world's nicest guy. It's like also Weird Al. Like, I like that a while back when like tons of really shitty stories were coming out about douchebags on the internet.
There was that hashtag to counteract it, like great stories of Weird Al.
Yeah, and I love that because literally no one had a bad story to tell about Weird Al Yankovic, which made me so happy.
It's what I aspire to be, but I'm sure, like, you could call some people up right now and they're like, fuck him.
Well, maybe, but the bar is also pretty low as a guy in the world at this point. Like, you have to just not assault people or be an asshole.
Well, and getting back to burlesque, like...
Oh, yeah.
People are like, you're so professional, thank you. It's like, I did literally the bare minimum.
I'm literally neutral.
Like, I didn't show up drunk or on drugs. I didn't bring my significant other into the back with naked people. I was on time. Like, people are like, oh God, you're wonderful. It's like, how? How is this the bar? Like, I'm thankful for the work.
I'll tell you, Rex, here's a secret. I've been DJing for almost 7 years. Literally, that's how I keep the gig going, is I do a good job. Not even, I would say, a great job. Others might argue. I do a good job, and everyone's like, this is phenomenal, because literally I do a little more than what's expected.
Right.
And everyone's like, you're amazing. I'm like, I'm doing what's called work ethic.
Yeah, and it's funny because, we're both professionals outside of, burlesque in our other careers, where it's like, nothing would fly.
No, absolutely not.
So why does it fly in burlesque? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that the expectations are just low because there's so many shitty humans out there, and it's sad. But I mean, I do a day job and I'm at a desk all day, and it's like I bust my ass to do the work I need to do. And it's not that I don't work hard in burlesque and that you don't either, but it's just I think the bar is so low that we can get ahead because we're just being good people doing good work, which should be obvious, and yet it's apparently a novel concept,
right?
Which is shocking to me.
Well, but, I mean, I don't even have anything to add to that. That's just it is what it is.
It's a sad state of affairs in the world where going through the world being a good person is considered exemplary, which is
right. We all need to raise the bar.
Yes, agreed.
As a industry scene, whatever
you want to call it. Yeah, the terminology changes from day to day. I've noticed that you have a really great sense of humor, even as someone who's introverted, and I recognize it because also I can go either way. I can be extremely extroverted, and then I can also be extremely introverted.
Yeah, I only have one setting.
Right.
Yeah.
But that said, like you have a pretty sharp wit and a pretty good sense of humor. Have you ever considered pursuing any kind of professional tangent in something related to comedy, or is that
no? That's even more terrifying than being naked on stage, which
wow,
I'm still trying to work through.
That's fair.
There is one show that I want to apply to because it's literally speaking in public and then getting naked. And I'm just like, all right, let's just go. Let's just go full on, like right? Fuck it. All right.
Like if I'm gonna be terrified of A, why not
like
do
that,
B?
So that actually is my goal right now. Is to do this.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember seeing something about that. There's there's a show that's happening that does that.
Yeah.
That a few people have done. That it's just interesting to me because you often make me laugh online. Like I'll still never forget. Shout out to Emmy, the parody video you did when Emmy cut her hair.
That actually grew out of she would always our mutual friend would post like bed selfies,
right?
And so I literally had a wig, and I would just recreate her bed selfies,
which was the best.
Like, because I was bored, and I had nothing, and I like obviously I work nights or whatever. So I was like, well, I got nothing to do today. I can set this up and take a half hour while I have coffee. And then after that, she chopped her hair like off, her considerably long hair.
And so you could no longer parody her.
No, so
as I recall, was it Boyz II Men?
It was So Hard to Say Goodbye to Yesterday
by Boyz II Men. Yeah,
an amazing song.
It is an amazing song.
If there's one thing I love, it's 90s R&B, which is the burlesque of music. It
really is.
It's oversexed to the point of parody, where it's not even sexual anymore, and we're all just laughing.
Have you really? Because I recently listened to Montel Jordan's first two albums, which I loved growing up, and like too young to even really understand the sexual side of it.
No, that's the best part. Yeah. Everyone's like got their fucking 8-year-olds singing this shit, and it's like then like all of a sudden like you get to the age where it's like, oh my god,
what was I listening to?
It's like, I mean, it's not just 90s. I mean, growing up, my parents played Purple Rain nonstop.
Sure.
And like I'm talking the movie where it's just like, and like I'm just like walking around the house like, hey, what's up? Like Apollonia. But so when it came time that she cut her hair off, I was like, well, I got to throw this wig out. I was like, this isn't right. So I put myself into the video.
Which was awesome, and also made me realize how 90s that video is.
It's amazing.
Like the stark color contrast and how some of it's black and white.
I wanted to do a follow-up where I got 3 other guys and we just did the color-matched outfits to... oh god, now I'm end of the road.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I was like, we'll get underneath like the BQE and like light a trash can on fire and stand all around it singing. Like I had the whole thing plotted out because it's an amazing thing. I originally wanted to do Bone Thugs and Harmony Crossroads, and then have the wig show up in a White Sox hat halfway through as a ghost. But I was like, no one's gonna get Eazy-E references in 2018.
I would, but I'm an audience of one.
I was like, that's a bridge too far.
Oh man, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
That's my nerdlesque right there. Is putting myself in the 90s R&B videos.
See,
it's a niche market.
See, but I feel like there would still be people who appreciate it. First of all, how there hasn't been a 90s R&B burlesque show? There must have been.
Okay, shout out to oh my God, Femme Appeal.
Yeah.
Has a Motown Philly act.
Oh yes.
Which I haven't seen, but she put a video of it, and I went to, 11-year-old girls screaming, watching my phone, yes.
She is a person who, if you can think of something really dumb, she's probably done it. Because she's just so brilliant. She has an act as the worm from Labyrinth. She has an Abe Lincoln act, where she rescues white slaves. Yeah. It's just, she is brilliant.
I kittened a show that she did where she was like a Kentucky gentleman. And would not break character
of course
the entire show. It was amazing. Everyone was really uncomfortable, and it was awesome.
I mean, that's probably Femme's tagline. Yeah. Everyone's uncomfortable, and it was awesome. But that said, and knowing that you're a fan of 90s R&B and hip hop, are there any songs that you want to perform to that you would build an act around?
Okay, there are, and I can't do them. No, so let's be honest. A lot of 90s R&B, you think of one name, and it's R. Kelly, and fuck him.
Yeah,
you
fuck
can't
that
do
guy.
that.
No, of course not.
I've been to the point where I've put together a costume, and it was just no.
Yeah.
This is before a lot of it, but still, it was no.
I mean, it's worse now.
Yeah, obviously.
I mean,
but why? Why is it worse now? Everyone knew about this.
Well, okay, it's not worse now. It's that more people know about it now.
But I don't get that. I really don't. Why was this not okay, but why was it not?
Why were you willing to forgive him? For the reason we forgive other celebrities also.
Right.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
Your popularity and the amount of voices affect how that goes down.
There also is the thing that, let's be honest, I'm a white guy.
That's true.
And at what point does it become uncomfortable and appropriative?
I mean, I feel like if you're not lip syncing the song, if you're performing it's fine.
I have enough of my own culture that I can lampoon, and a big part of that is coming.
There are plenty of hilariously stupid white people worth laughing at.
Right.
So
I can stay in my lane.
That's fair.
I don't think anyone needs my opinions or my interpretations.
I guess that's fair. That's true.
So yeah, I'll stay. I'll make fun of guys in kilts, and
Yeah, that's always a good thing. I'm trying to think. Then going back to that and that side of it. We talked about your firefighter act earlier that you said that you're reworking and tweaking. Do you have any other inspiration based on your day job that you want to pull into burlesque? Is there any other kinds of acts you've wanted to do?
A lot of burlesque is to get away from my day job.
Got it.
I did that one as the fireman thing because I was like, okay, I'm going to make an act about my depression.
Right.
But I'll cover it. So if you don't want to see an act about depression, I don't just bring the whole fucking thing down. But if it's that whole thing of how are you trying to get people to react to this?
Right.
Are you trying to get hoots and hollers while you talk about that, or and the best one I talked to about that is Qualms Galore, because she has that great act to Schism by Tool.
It's one of my favorite acts.
It is, and it's a Tool song, so it's 7 minutes long.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, but no one knows how to react to it.
Yes, correct. And it's funny too.
And she's I don't know. Some people are clapping and hooting and hollering while I'm doing this, and so my fire act was kind of that.
Gotcha.
I don't like that. I don't know. But I felt like I had to do it. It was if I don't do it,
I mean, because everyone knows you.
It's going to be, when are you going to do this?
Yeah, right.
Here it is. Shut up. Move on.
I mean, your earliest photos were of you wearing that outfit, essentially, and not much more.
Yeah, that was because when I decided, I was I'm going to make a run at this, and our mutual friend Jason. was like, you're going to need photos, and I need to practice this because I'm a photographer now, and he's fucking amazing at it. Like,
He is really good at it, yeah.
Like, I'm so lucky I got in on the ground floor on that one. So he was like, this is, could be mutually beneficial. So yeah, he's like, bring your fire gear. So cool, I did that. And
I mean, my favorite photo I think that he took is with you in the suit with the undone bow tie, the very James Bond looking photo with the giant wrench.
Yeah. You see me. Usually that's the end of Hellfire when I'm picking up a stage, but I insist on being in a tuxedo because I wear suits to shows.
Right.
So if it's a show that requires suits, where do I go from there?
You have to wear a tuxedo.
Tux.
Right. Exactly.
So,
you have to get more dressy.
I'm still a stagehand. So you'll see me in the James Bond tux falling off me while I'm trying not to rip studs across the room. Moving a stage. So yeah, that's the inspiration for that.
That's awesome. I didn't know that's what inspired that. That's pretty great. I mean, I feel like if you already dress up often, which you do, to step up from there.
Again, we all need to raise the bar.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. Like I don't have an issue with wearing t-shirts often, but I do feel like if I'm going out for a night out, that I should dress up for a night out.
With me, I don't do it for other people. I don't do it because it's asked of me. I do it for me because I feel good about myself.
Right.
And I have a job that I wear a uniform. I wear my Navy Fire Department T-shirt and my BDUs and so I don't get to wear real people clothes.
That's true.
If I had to wear a tie to work, I probably wouldn't dress up as much as I do.
That's fair. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because dressing up for you is like it's the furthest from what you have to wear every day.
I feel good about myself.
Yeah.
It's certain people feel good in 6-inch heels, and that's awesome. Certain people like leather. I like a good suit.
Makes sense to me. Before we wrap up, one thing I've been wanting to ask, since I know that you're an introverted person who I'm so lucky to call a friend and that we get to hang out whenever we do, but for other introverts who might be interested in extroverted activities, what would be your best advice to engage or tackle those things? Like what kind of advice can you offer to other people who might feel more on the shy or introverted side who want to do more public spectacle related gigs?
This feels like it's skipping to like step 5 because it's like, but you can't do it alone.
Okay.
Like get with extroverts. Look for people who aren't you. And that's just in everything in life. Like right. The reason why I love my firehouse. Mm-hmm. I love the guys. There's 39 of us I think there and they're my brothers.
Right.
Like we go out, we have a good time. I don't need to be around them all the time because I am them.
Right. Right, obviously.
It gets very boring very quickly. So look for people who aren't you. And so I look for basically like I'm straight. I look for queer people. I'm very masculine. I look for people who aren't. And I'm introvert. I look for extroverts. And you'd just be surprised how much richer your life is at the end of the day. How many more viewpoints you can get exposed to. And I mean, my meaning of life is to learn.
Sure.
And it's not just book knowledge, but a lot of book knowledge. But just everything. I need to experience everything from different viewpoints and everything. So I look for extroverted people, and those extroverted people push me into things. Burlesque is great because everyone in burlesque is an extrovert generally.
Yeah, for the most
there
part.
are some huge counter examples of that.
Right.
Hey, me. But for the most part, burlesque is full of extroverts. So I look for people who are going to push me to outside of my comfort zone. And then eventually that becomes your comfort zone.
Sure.
Because doing the crazy thing like getting naked in front of 150 people you don't know, you're with your friends who
right.
are also doing it or cheering you on from the front row. And all of a sudden that becomes normalized. Like that's the weird thing about life is that everything eventually becomes normalized.
Yeah,
like
for better or worse.
Yeah, exactly, as we're learning now in the American government system. But the new normal comes quickly, and all of a sudden, no one even remembers how it used to be.
Right.
And so if you surround yourself with extroverts, surround yourself with people different from you, you will be pushed outside of your comfort zone, and that's where you'll get better.
That's awesome. That's great advice. I love that. I don't have to tell you how to close out this show, Rex. You're a listener. You know. So can you please... Do you? You know.
You're putting me on the spot. But music is life and life is good.
That's it.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Rex.
Thank you.
That's it for this episode of Crash Chords Autographs. Our theme music is by Michael Kill. Our logo was designed by Case Aiken and Joey Amons. If you liked the show, please rate and review us on iTunes and Facebook. You'll help us reach more listeners. Questions, comments, or guest recommendations? Email matt.storm@crashchords.com or hit us up on Twitter @CrashChordsWeb. Thanks for listening.
Hi, this is Victor Devon, and I am the host of We Burlesque, the podcast. Every Monday, I talk to fabulous denizens of nightlife, including burlesque performers, both seasoned and new to the form, drag performers, performance artists, DJs, and artists who make up their respective scenes. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and more. Please visit WeBurlesque.com to check out episode recaps and see all the formats available. And remember that music is life. Life is good.